In the framework of the first edition of Ohada Leases Online Summits, the practical handbook for the management of leases for business use in the Ohada zone is going to be made available to lessors, tenants, and professionals in Ohada law. As a participant who took part to the preparation of this book, I have been entrusted to present it. Imai Benemandesibel, Junior Consultant, here in front of you. What is new in this book compared to the resources on leases for professional use in the Ohada zone? Its first original feature is that it is a document for the first time made available both in French and in English to allow the various categories of French and English speaking users to have one identical landmark. Thus, if the lease must be concluded between French and English speaking parties or users of the English language, the negotiation and the conclusion of the lease will be largely facilitated. The handbook will also be useful to English-speaking officers in charge of the management of leases, usually working in English in their company but evolving in an outside French-speaking environment, a current situation in most countries of the Ohada zone. Its second important feature is that it is an essentially practical resource to facilitate the conclusion and the secured management of leases. For instance, you have the security which is ensured at each step of the procedures. The steps to follow exactly in order to manage your lease securely during its whole life cycle are indicated with the corresponding explanation and precise landmarks. As to dispute prevention, the main points to take into account along this life cycle are included in dashboards, summary tables, and other practical documents in order to avoid opening unnecessary pre-contentious, then contentious breaches. You get an optimal documentary security with practical documents immediately ready to fill, which are provided, such as summary checklists to forget no detail, procedure files to miss no step of the procedures and avoid handling them incorrectly. You have forms complying with the standards and requirements of Ohada law on leases for business use, and you have also some toolkits. Let us take one example of some elements you will find in the handbook under the heading Conclusion of Leases. You have a memo entitled How Large is Your Contractual Freedom to Draft the Lease? You have a list of the negotiable and non-negotiable points to avoid forgetting during the conclusion of these leases. You have fact sheets on some problematic tenants or lessors to avoid or to know how to handle. You have templates of leases for premises and land leases. You have proposals of formulas and provisions on some sensitive points in leases. Let us have also a look at the procedure files included in the handbook. They show the various stages of the handling of the file, the documents or forms to be used, the tasks to be carried out, and the deadlines to be respected if there are any. All the sensible stages of the leases will be able to be taken care of with the adequate documents, such as those on lease renewal with the various situations like renewal request or absence of request by the tenant, refusal or acceptance of the renewal by the landlord, those for the modification leases like rent or other modifications, those for the assignment and subleases with the various related situations. And you also have those which will permit direct management of leases or their management by proxy. Finally, I wish to recall what benefits it could be for every company in the Ohada zone. This handbook will be a common reference for anyone in the company involved in a way or another in all the acts, measures, and decisions taken in this field concerning the management of the leases. Indeed, on one hand, the handbook will allow to ensure in your structure uniform lease management methods, therefore avoiding scattered practices during the handling of the leases, both at the time of their conclusion and later. On the other hand, it will facilitate a rapid assimilation by the staff recently assigned to the leases management of the essential elements of Ohada law as to the information to have, the procedures to be followed, and the documents to be used. What a valuable time-saving resource, notably in the event of staff changes or during phases of temporary staff replacement. Here we are. You know almost everything about this precious handbook included in the pack of the soon-to-be held Ohada Leases Summit. The rest is up to you. To book the kit and get other information, please check the link under the headings on the Leases Summit. Thank you for your attention.